All right, there we go. Y'all can hear me now. Dennis for the wind. Philip, Mark, and Dennis got me on that, telling me there was no audio. Let me make sure. There we go. All right, all good now. All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kilo Loco. Welcome to the live stream. We're gonna be live stream. Well, I'm gonna be live streaming, and if I'm live streaming, that things are going good. So that's good. All right. Today, what we're gonna be working on is we're gonna be working on adding in a new feature to the Metalog app. The reason why I was going to do this was simply because, yeah, need to continue to improve this app, and I haven't been able to work on it lately. So, with that said, let's see if I could get this to keep going and have the audio keep working. Let's see. Lottie dottie, we likes to party. All right, y'all can still hear me. I think we might be all right. All righty, let's go ahead. All right, so I have to switch back and forth. I use a PC to stream, and then I have to work on the Mac Mini, and it's like weird. It's weird stuff. Anyways, all right, let's pull up the app. Let's see where we're at. This is the app. It's called Metalog. The entire premise of this app, in case you're not familiar with it, is to simply be able to log events and then actually be able to see like some information about that event. So as you can see, I have like do a live stream. You click on it, it gives you a little bit more information. Right now we just have the last occurrence, which is right here, the number of occurrences that have happened, and then also we fixed a bug in the last stream, which was causing us to actually not have an initial occurrence created for each of these events. Now, to explain this a little bit easier so that you can understand the data model, right? Let's go ahead and do amplify console like this. And what I'll do is I'll show you, let me see, got to be in the iOS, that's why. Amplify console like so. And we could go to studio. That should be fine. So I hit some weird key, but that should be fine. All right, let's take a look. And this is the way that my objects are set up. Hopefully that's clear enough. Maybe I could zoom out. Let me know if it's not clear anymore. But real quick. Yeah, I'm still with Amazon. Did the stream freeze? I don't know. Did it freeze for y'all? Let me check. May be experiencing a lot of technical difficulties. I'm not sure. Let's see. No, it looks like it might be good on my. I mean, I'm able to see the stream. It looks like it's still going. Hopefully it didn't freeze. Let me know if it's frozen. Okay. Anyways, these are my model objects just off the bat. This is what I created, and these are the things that I think are important to get up and running. So we have an event that's going to be like, well, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? But an event will have occurrences, right? So you would have like an event, and that would be like the name of the event, right? So what we are seeing here back over here, these are the events. So I would be like, do a thing or something happened, and I would log that thing, right? And then over here, I would see all the occurrences, or at least the occurrences with the notes. Now, I'm not really entirely sure because I haven't made a design. I don't know if you guys want to watch me try to design something. I'm really bad at design, but I could definitely try. I don't have a problem trying to do anything. But essentially what we want to see here are the notes that may have happened or that may be associated with the different occurrences, as opposed to just these random letters and numbers, which are the IDs of the occurrences. So instead of it saying 357 blah blah blah, it would say, okay, do a live stream, and then maybe I would add in a note that would say, okay, this was on implementing a feature into Metalog or whatever. And then next time it would be like, oh, I did something on Android, and then the next time it'd be like Flood or something, right? So that's what I'm looking to implement into the app. And as you can see, the occurrence, like the event doesn't have anything anywhere where you would store notes. That's what the occurrence is for you to add more details. That's the way that it makes sense in my head. So you would have your notes added to an occurrence, and then you'd be able to list off those notes. So with that said, let's go ahead and add that feature in. Now, we can already do that. Like, we're already showing each of the occurrences, right? But now what I need to do is I need to add the ability to add an occurrence from this screen, from the event details screen, by adding a button down here so that it could bring up a sheet to add an occurrence. And then I would essentially save that occurrence, right? So let me just show you what it's like to add an event so far. If I wanted to create a new event, then I'd say my new event. Oh, let's do audio check, because that's what y'all were saying last. Audio check. Audio check. Wait, it's me? It's what? Oh, it's you? Oh. Yeah. And then you would have your notes, which I believe the notes should be added to the occurrence itself. Occurrence notes. And then you would say when, and we'll just do it for right now. And there we go. So we have audio check. And then what we want to do is we want to be able to see the notes right there. So that will be our first fix. And we can do that in the details, the event detail screen. And let's see. And it's over here. And I could see what I am literally working off of what y'all could see. So I'm actually having the same problem of seeing that you guys are. All right, so event details view is right here. And what we're doing is we are showing the occurrence ID, and what we want this to be is actually notes. But this is an optional string. So what can we do? What can we do? So we don't want to have any logic inside of our view layer, not even a filter. Or what I want to do is I want to do a list of occurrences with notes. So what I could do is I could go over to my view store, event details state, and we can just add it in here as a computed property to our event details state, because right now we're pulling all the occurrences, right? But what if I want it only occurrences with notes? And that will also be an identified array of occurrence. And for those of you that are like, what in the hell is an identified array? This is essentially, I think the way that I think about it is that this is a dictionary that's been made to be used like an array. So it's essentially an array, but it's actually a dictionary. And it's used with the composable architecture. And I don't fully understand what were all the differences, but that's kind of what I got it. That's the gist that I got from it. Anyways, what we want to do is we want to grab occurrences.filter, and then we want to filter where they have notes. I believe we can do that. Let's see. May need to do more logic, may not be able to do it like that. So the way that we can do it is if the note, or if the occurrence dot notes is not equal to nil. So then we run this filter on it. That gives us back an identified array of occurrence. It's filtered. It's part of our state. We pull from it, and we don't have any logic in our view, which keeps it kind of nice. So We'll do occurrences uh with notes. And then this is still optional. So let's see, how would I want to handle this? I suppose that we could wrap it in like a if let, right? And we'll just say occurrence. I only like to use the shorthand if we're going to be doing something like less complex. If we're doing something complex, try to stay away from shorthand. It could be very confusing if anybody else is working on this project, on a project with you. It could be confusing to you after you are finished with that specific feature. It happens a lot, so just be careful. All right, so we have an occurrence, and then we'll do if let notes equals occurrence and then note. Then we are going to essentially show text and then the notes like that. All right, and this is still slightly better than having done the logic here because the list is not going to be trying to figure out whether to render something. It's just going to simply be pulling the data directly from the source. So I think this still works pretty well. All right, so let's run it back. And if we take a look at the app, we should actually see like very few notes or hardly any at all. So this one doesn't have any notes, no notes, but we did do audio check and I think that had occurrence notes right there. Bam. Kablamo. All right. So it looks like I kind of know what I'm doing, but it can all be a charade. All right. So another thing that I may want to do is do a switch state or a if statement. If there are no notes, then let's go ahead and show some text that says no notes here or something like that. So let's go ahead and add in some of that logic as well. If view store dot occurrences with notes dot count or is empty, I guess, is empty, then let's do some logic else. Let's go ahead and show that bad boy. There we go. So if it's empty, then we'll just add some more text. And we'll just put no occurrences with notes. What's going on, Flo? No occurrences with notes. All right, so now we're always showing something. So we always have information for the user, which is alright, I guess. It's a thing, you know, it's a thing. One thing I don't like is that this is not being pushed up to the top. So let's go ahead and add in a spacer. How have you been, Flo? Long time no speak, man. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back. All right. Push it to the top. No occurrences with notes. We can also make this bold because yuck. I mean, am I right? Right. So do a thing. No occurrences with notes. Audio check, occurrence, notes. There we go. All right. So now we are able to actually view the notes. Let's go ahead and make it so that we can save the notes. So I decided very early on that having this little button down here, now this is more of an Android thing, maybe, I don't know, material design, but the little button at the bottom just seems to make way more sense than having a plus sign up here at the top. And then the default for like having like a navigation bar or like, what is it? A toolbar? I forgot what iOS calls it. Anyways, having a whole bar that goes across the bottom with some blue text, or maybe in this case, it would be purple. It don't look good. Not in my opinion. Right. It's been a while. Got a lot to do currently. So not much time for YouTube, but great to see you back. Hey, glad to be back. Hope to see you back on YouTube too. And yeah, everybody go check out Flow. Flow be supporting the channel by always coming and hanging out with me on the live streams. Appreciate it. All right, so like I said, I knew that this button, these floating action buttons were going to be part of the app to like do very common things. And the way that I'm going to add a floating action button is by using something that I've already created. If I could find it, I believe I called it floating action button, which is what I stole from Flutter. A lot of great stuff in Flutter. So we have this floating action button struct that I created. And if we just wrap our view in this floating action button, it gets added, which is really nice. So we go to our event details, right? We want to do it inside with view store. And what we'll do is we'll just wrap everything, this VStack, in a floating action button. And then we have to provide a system image name. Let's go ahead and add that in there. And this is going to just be plus because that's the only one that I know off the top of my head. The action will do nothing right now, and the content is going to be literally this entire VStack. So we go down here, get it all indented, looking pretty sexy. And then bam, 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 bam. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. All right. Now that we have this floating action button added, if we go over, let's check it out. Bam. Now this does not look right. There's something wrong with this spacing. And the problem, which God, sometimes I really be hating on Swift UI. The problem is that the content is too narrow, so the button follows the content to wherever it is. So if I were to like make this a background, you would actually see that the content stops right here, and that's where the button is pushing off of. So that's a bug. Whether I want to deal with it right this second, not feeling that. That's kind of boring. I kind of want to do the things. So let's go ahead and leave it right there for a second. Let's head back over to, let's see, we have event details action. We need to add a new action for this floating action button, which will allow us to create a new occurrence. Now, I believe we actually want to navigate to a new screen because that's what we do. We just navigate to a new screen every time we hit this button, right? So when we tap it, we should be navigating to a new screen, which means you could just add a frame max width to the content. Let's see. Okay, let me try that. Flow coming in with the save. And let's go ahead and do, if you will let me, here we go, frame, and we'll do max. I think I've tried this before, and max width has some weird behavior with infinity sometimes. Infinity. So let's go ahead and check that real quick because Flo did make that recommendation and that seems like it might work. If y'all see me struggling, feel free to help out. Ooh, Flo nailed it. Nailed it. Thank you, Flo. Appreciate that. Nailed it. All right, cool. Cool beans. Dokily dokily. All right, so that issue's solved, which is amazing. Now we want to essentially, when we hit this plus button, we need to navigate to, yeah, it was an easy fix. We need to navigate to a new screen. Now, this could become a problem because we may have to do a lot of refactoring in order to be able to pass down this navigation ability. Kind of the downside of working with the composable architecture is that you're just constantly passing down a whole store sometimes, and you can't really scope it when you need to. So what I'm going to look at are the dashboard component composites. Let's see. Is it the dashboard view maybe? Dashboard view. Screen, dashboard screen, whatever. All right, so the dashboard screen, I believe we are still using this. And we are using the root store because we need to have access to the navigation state and navigation action. And then we also need to, like, if you take a look, we have this floating action button, which its action is to send a navigation action backwards. So, I'm trying to think of what would be the right way to do this, because what we have to do, and I'll show you, this will be on event detail composites. So far, the actions that my event details actions can perform are on appear. It's just going to do something on appear, which is going to do a query for all the occurrences. And then it's also going to get that response and then handle that, right? But now we're saying that we need this new action and we have to be able to navigate. And I don't have the navigation. I don't have access to the navigation part of my root composite. So let me show you that as well. We have this root composite, and let me see if I can show it to you. So we have this navigation action, which is like go to and update routes. And what we want to do is we have to be able to handle it in our reducer. So essentially what we want to do is we want to navigate, and we have to essentially make sure that we're using it or passing a navigation action to our root reducer right here, which is responsible for all the logic of like doing pretty much everything in the app. And I would have to do like some type of pullback, or I would have to check in here, which I think that we can do, because the way that I'm thinking about it is that we are going to send an event. We can send an event details. Let me show that again. Event details composites. We can send a new action, watch for that specified action, and handle it that way. So let me see if I can actually do that right now and handle the on appear for the event details action. Event list composite. Let me see. Event composites. We have an event details. Let me think. So that's the event details. Yeah. So we should be able to drop into this event list action, event details action, and then observe that specific type of occurrence and handle the navigation that way. So we're going to go to the root composites like so. And how has your experience with TCA been so far, especially given the reducer complexity of this app right now, at least? Working with TCA has been a very much a production environment type of vibe. Like there is a very steep learning curve to it. And it is, it takes a while to understand. Takes a while to wrap your head around it. And even right now, as I'm trying to understand how I'm going to handle this, like I still don't know necessarily what the best thing to do is. So that kind of becomes the problem, is like I'm still learning. So y'all get to learn with me, but like I may end up getting stuck. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? So we have this event list action. Then we have event details action. And see, this is the part where it's like getting tricky because I need to pass in an event to the event details. And I don't have that event right now, but I don't think that I can just do an underscore right here. I might be able to, but let's see. And then let's see if we could do on appear. Now, if this builds, if I add the colon, then we can return dot none, and we know that it should theoretically work. And I'll explain this if it does work. Okay. Oh, that's complex. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, if you take a look at the root action, there's only 4 different types of root actions that we got, right? We have a dashboard action, event list action, navigation action, and a new event action. Now, whether this is the right way to go about it or not, I'm not sure. I'm still trying to learn myself. I'm probably making a mistake somewhere. What's going on, Ant-Man? Thanks for following for a while now. Appreciate that. But going back to what I was saying, notice that we don't have event details action in here, right? And that's because it comes under the event list action. Like, you're only able to get to the event details if you went there through an event list. So then the event list action has this other action called event details. Now, in order for you to see the event details, you need to provide an event. And then when you are inside of the event details, the actions that are available to you are going to be specific to that event details action, right? So then an event details page can only do a certain number of things, and this allows you to like recreate state in a very like systematic way. But like managing all of that and fully understanding it, it's a little bit tough. And you just have to watch a bunch of, like, I pay Point Free for their subscription to their videos or whatever it is. It's a lot. It's a lot, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's see if we can get this to print on appear in root reducer. And if this fires, that means that we are able to successfully watch for this event. Let's see. So we're going to go to do live stream and it doesn't fire. So this isn't going to actually work the way that I thought it would work. So that's the other problem. So let's see. Yeah, it's not firing. So that means that I may have to do something a little bit different. Not entirely sure. And this is where we start learning. Because I'm assuming that on appear is being called. I'm assuming on appear. What's going on, Deska? We have the event details screen. Event details view. I gotta really clean up some of this naming. So notice that I am sending this view store.send and I'm sending the on appear upward. This may not be working because it may not work because of the way that I initialize this event details view. So if I'm not passing the root store down, it may not be able to bubble that action upward. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we're creating the event details view. And let's see. This would be from, this would be from the dashboard screen, I believe. And when we click on the event list view, okay, let's go into the event list view because that has the navigation link in there. It's handling the logic. All right. So this is where the problem lies. The problem is that I am trying to essentially create these views with a store, right? For example, we have this event details view as a store, and I'm trying to make it a very specific type of store, right? I'm trying to niche it down because I want it to use this, well, let's see. Am I doing this wrong? This is starting to feel wrong. It's starting to feel wrong. It feels like I may need to add, sorry guys. Let's get this on do not disturb. There we go. Okay, so I'm thinking that what I'm going to have to do is because I'm working with the I'm allowing us to dive deeper and deeper into this app, right? Like every navigation that you're able to do is allowing you to dive a little bit deeper. I'm thinking that I may have to refactor some of this so that all of these things are still taken in the root view, and then they're able to work directly with the specific store for that view, which doesn't seem like a good practice. Seems like this would be problematic. Yeah, this part was not well explained, right? In the documentation. And of course, it's like either you have beginner content or you have this extremely advanced content, where it's just like it's too much to take in, too much to break down, and there's no in between. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we can always go back and refactor to be more specific and to be more granular and modular. But right now, I think we need to just like allow this to take in a very generic root store, which means that it's going to be able to have access to almost everything. And then, that still feels wrong. Let's think. Because the entire problem is that we're creating a new store, and I don't think that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work with the same store consistently. The problem is when you start going deeper and deeper into the app with navigation and things of that sort, then how are you supposed to be specific, right? This is the event list view, which means it's going to have an event list state and event list action. How do you stay specific that way, but also pass on the store? And that is a difficult question for me right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at what properties this view store may have. View store dot. We have state, which is going to be event list state, event details state. No. We have send, object, publishing, binding, and yeah. So none of these things allow you to go back up and access the store. the root store. They don't know anything about their parent store. So that makes me feel like I'm going to have to change this to root root state and root action. Once we have the root state and the root action, then we would have to do view store dot view store dot event list state dot events, like so. Then what we would also need to do is change the event details view. Well, hold on. So we need to have an event details state and an event details action as part of the state, right? So we would have var event details state, event details state. This also does not work. I'm stuck, guys. I'm stuck. It's becoming problematic. So we need to create the event details state with an event, which makes sense. Unless we make this optional, which then kind of sucks. I mean, we could do this, right? This very, very terrible thing. We could do that. That makes me sick to my stomach, though. So I need to figure out how to handle creating the event detail state without the need of an event or being able to access that event detail state. And there aren't any good examples online. See, this is like one of the last things. If I can figure out how to handle this issue, I could probably make a video on TCA and I'd actually understand how almost everything worked. But until I actually understand this part, I can't do anything. So actually keep it saved up here because I've been going to it so frequently. Now, of course, they don't have, I may have to just create like a very basic example, you know? All right. You know what? We're actually going to have to do some research on this one. Because I won't be able to figure it out. Like I would be able to figure it out on my own, but it's just going to take so much time, like, and nobody wants to see that. Because if we go to examples, right, they got these very basic ones, but they don't have, because each of these are like a single screen, right? To-dos, a single screen. Voice memos, single screen. All of them are like practically single screens. I think search is technically 2 screens, but it doesn't really help with anything. Also mentions of a higher order reducer. Yeah, so if I'm remembering what the higher order reducer is, it would be this. It would be the ability, I think it would be the ability to map. It would be the ability to essentially handle logic from all types of actions, right? I may be misunderstanding this because I'm still learning too. So don't take my word for it. But my understanding of what the higher order reducer's main goal is, or why it's even a concept, is so that you can handle actions that are from a local, like a local action, something that's local to a specific screen. In this example, it would be the event details screen. Handle something from this event detail screen and bubble it all the way up to the root reducer, which is right here. And that's actually what I'm doing right here. So I believe this is the higher order reducer that you're referring to, this combine. And what we're doing is we're using this pullback to essentially take our actions and then pull them like essentially take our local actions and bubble them up into a root action that makes sense to this reducer. Same thing with states. Yeah. So Wada, I think you are right, and you probably even know more about this than I do. But this isn't necessarily the root of my problem. The root of my problem is being able to make a view coupled, I guess would be the right word, coupled with a state, but limiting it to that specific state and that action, right? So the changes that I made here, and if I undo the changes, you can see that the event list view only knows stuff about the event list state and is only able to pass event list actions and knows nothing about the root, right? So it knows nothing about the root. It doesn't know anything about the navigation. It doesn't know anything about what's going on the dashboard. It doesn't know anything about creating new events. It doesn't know any of that, which that's what we want, right? We always want our views to be limited to what they're only supposed to have access to, and not be able to modify things that they're not supposed to have access to, which is kind of the same argument that you hear against singletons, that you don't want your singleton object to be mutated in a random view such as the event details view, because that could be bad, right? There's other reasons why people hate singletons, but they use them anyways and they don't know it anyways. But yeah, so this line right here, this feels correct to me. Scoped down state and action per view, that feels correct. Now, how do I provide a specified details view or a details store, right? These are stores, right? So a specified event list store is provided to this event list view, right? And I want to provide a specialized event details store to this event details view so that it doesn't know stuff about the root action. And I cannot figure out how to do that. And the reason why I need to be able to do that, and I can't just use the for each store or something like that. They have an actual thing. It's called for each store, which will allow you to handle one type of store, which is not what I want, because I need two different types of stores. We have the event details view that needs an event details store, and then we have the event view, which needs its own event store. You know what I mean? And if I'm not passing down the main store, it's not going to be able to handle actions that are trying to be bubbled up to it. So hopefully that makes sense. Right now, what I'm thinking is let's get the app running and working again, because we did make a couple of different changes which allow us to see the no occurrences and stuff like that. And if that is able to build, then we can just save it. No occurrences with notes. And then we have the notes right there. All right. let's go ahead and push these changes. Get status, and that all looks correct to me. Get how do you do the comparing? Get stat, something like that. What was it? Get status. I wanted to I forgot what it was, but I wanted to see what the changes were for the specific files, but I think this is right. And we can actually do this in Xcode, an easier way. Oh yeah, get diff, that's what it was. It's been a minute, thank you. Get diff stat. Oh, maybe it wasn't the stat option. So then it's just get diff one of these. Okay, so I need to go back and change that. That's terribly wrong. Hold on, my daughter's crying. All right, I'm back. And file name. Oh no, not like, so I don't provide the file name. I provide because I like to look at everything and just make sure that everything looks correct. This looks correct. I'm gonna keep that in there until I get it working. Actually, I need to take that out because that does not need to be. Okay, so that's okay. So this one needs to be taken out. So we'll exclude the root composites change, and then we just need to update the event details state. So let's make that change real quick. Event details state, like so, and like so, and this too. All right. So this is correct. This is correct. We omit that one, and that's correct. All right. So probably should have done a commit after fixing that, thanks to Flow, but it's okay. So we'll do get add, and then our, let me see, get status, and we'll just do get add. We'll add what is this, Metalog event, Metalog event, there we go. Event details composite. I think we're saving the event details composite. Metalog event details view, and Metalog shared floating action. So we add those, get status. Let's try that one more time. Get status. All right, that looks right. Get commit. And we are going to say that we add a floating action button to event details view. And then what else do we do? Fix loading action button content frame. And oh, I gotta go. Let's see. What else did we fix? And I think that was it pretty much. Leave it there. Get status, get push. There we go. All right. So everything's up to date now. And if y'all want to help on Metalog, because it is an open source app and I'm going to continue to work on it. But if anybody wants to work on it, create issues, if you want to see any features added to it, anything like that, then feel free to visit the repo. It's GitHub kilo-loco/metalog. And feel free to contribute. Feel free to create issues, test out the app, whatever you want to do. If you want to provide any type of assistance with this open source project, but I do plan on releasing this app this year, and that's the way that we're gonna build it, is out in the open, one step at a time. So thank you everybody for tuning in, hanging out with me. Really appreciate that. Be on the lookout for another live stream. I don't know when, but hopefully soon. And yeah, go out there and keep coding passionately.